Okay, thank you for joining us, everybody. We're B'siyata Dishmaya. We're in the Sefer Ben Lashri in Parshat Shelach. Before we begin, as we mention in every shir, the learning should be Luli Nishmas, that Tzadik Miranana, Rabbi Yitzchak HaKoyim Ben Osher Anshel Hoverman. As we know, he wrote in the Sefer, as unfortunately had no children, that those that learn the Chidushim and repeat them over in his name, he will be Melz Yosher for any Yeshua, any tzara that a person needs, and may it be the will of Hashem that our tefillos should be miskabel. The piece that we're going to learn, the Ben La'ashri focuses on a very interesting concept. We know that Kadosh Baruch Hu created 2 times that Mashiach could come. It's called Be'ita Achishana. Be'ita or Achishana. Be'ita means in the time, the hard time, the set in stone time that Kadosh Baruch Hu set when he created the world, B'Sheishis Yimei Bereshis, Mashiach has to come. No matter what the matzav in the world is, no matter where Klal Yisrael is holding, must come at this time. When exactly is this time? No one knows. There's different calculations that people have tried to make. That's not the topic of this year. The other time is called Achishana, that based on certain things that Klal Yisrael did, certain schusim, certain things that Kadosh Baruch Hu can speed up the process that has to be fixed, and will make it that Mashiach will come earlier. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created in the Bria, in the world, when Hashem set up the world initially, the possibility that if Klal Yisrael is deserving, Hashem can speed up things and can bring Mashiach earlier. And whatever has to be fixed in order for Mashiach to come would happen at a much faster pace. Tzaddikim said there are a few times in Klal Yisrael that this could have happened. One of the most famous time is around the Zman of Shapsai Tzi Yemach Shemoy V'Zochroi. And unfortunately, because we were not deserving of it, resulted in the terrible tragedy of Tach V'Tat. Also, another Indian that we should probably speak about at a different time. But as we begin the piece, Drush Niflo. Now, the Ben La'ashri, as many Rishonim and many Mefarshim, all have the same shaila. I don't understand, says the Ben La'ashri. How could it be that the Meraglim made a mistake? They weren't just regular people, they were tzaddikim, they were ksherim. How could it be? What mistake? There had to have been a mistake that they grabbed on that led them astray, which means they weren't Rishayim that decided that, okay, whatever we're going to see, we're going to flip on the backside. They were tzaddikim. So they've had to have fallen in some sort of mistake that led them to say Lashon Hara on Eretz Yisrael. In addition, there's a very interesting line that, the truth is, I didn't think about it too much, but the Ben Lashri focuses on it. It says that Moshe Rabbeinu, one of the reasons that Moshe Rabbeinu sent the spies was a practical, strategic purpose. Seek out the land. Which are the best roads to travel? Are the cities strong? Are they weak? Should we attack from the north, from the south, from the east, from the west? What's the best thing? Which is a logical thing. Every time there's a war about to happen, each side tries to gain as much intelligence as possible, as much, information as possible to make the best decisions, to attack, to defend, so on and so forth. Moshe Rabbeinu says a very interesting thing. He says, Hayesh ba'etz. Is there a tree? What tree are we talking about? Eitz is Lashon Yachid. Now, first of all, why do you need to know if there's trees? Okay, you need to know for whatever reason there's trees. You should have said Hayesh ba'etzim. Right? It seems to say that Moshe Rabbeinu was looking for a specific tree. Well, why is he looking for a tree? What tree? Right? It's not the Eitz Adas. So what does it mean, Hayesh ba'etz? Doesn't make sense what Moshe Rabbeinu is asking. Then it says, V'hizichtaktem, v'lekachtem mipri ha'aretz, you should take from the fruits of the land, v'ayomim you may be kurei avim. Why did Moshe Rabbeinu really need for us to see the fruits of the land? So one pshat was that Moshe Rabbeinu, as the Parshat pshat is, he wanted to show Klal Yisrael the fruits that are waiting for us. But Rashi says there has to be something more over here. Ulahavin ktsas, we're skipping the first 4 lines in this piece, which is on Daf Nun Vav. Ulahavin ktsas tois hameraglim. To understand a little bit the mistake that the Meraglim made. Shatorah akdosha meida alem she'oisa shok sheimayu. Gam yudu, we know she'tereseinu akdosha nitzchisi. We also know that the Torah is forever, is nitzchis. Nitzchis is a concept that the message of the Torah echoes throughout time. And Ben Lashri wrote this in the 50s and the 60s. It was relative to him then, this parsha, and it's relative to us in 2025, almost 75 years later. And what is the message? What do we learn from this parsha today? Today in 2025, what the parsha has to teach us. In addition, what's this tree that Moshe Rabbeinu commanded that the spies should seek out? But the Rosh's Chazal Yidua, what do they need chazaka to take from the tree? They have to grab the tree. They could have went to the marketplace. They could have went to the farmer and said, listen, here's $500. Let me take a grape. Right? They're not going to give it to him. Okay, we'll give you $2,000. We have to have chazaka to grab it. Doesn't make sense. They don't have to grab the fruits b'chazaka. The Ben Lashi says a beautiful tefillah. I ask Rishus from Kadosh Baruch Hu to say Pshat, v'torseinu Tosha from the Torah, nearly as follows. Behekdim pasuk vayirgash es Adam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu vayigoresh es Adam drove out Adam Rishon from the Gan Eden, vayishkan mikedem Gan Eden es akruvim. Pirush Rashi, Malachi Chabola v'slat acher v'supeches lishmor es derech eitz achayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu placed destruction, angels of destructions, the sword to block Adam Rishon's path back into Gan Eden. Pirush Rashi la'ayim to warn him, to scare him, l'kos l'Gan Eden. Nimsa shezeh kol zchus kiyumam shelo yanichu la'adam l'kos l'Gan Eden. What's the reason that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not allow Adam Rishon to go back into Gan Eden? Pen yishlach yodai v'lokach me'etz hachayim. Maybe he would take from the Eitz HaChayim v'chai lo'olam v'akein l'asad lavai. So too in the future. Kishiyabola hamavis l'netzach, when death will disappear forever. Ksiv es ruach hatuma avir min arts, I will remove the ruach tuma from the earth. Kias kvar oz kvar ein sarach. I don't need tuma anymore. Tuma is for us as a nisayan, as a challenge, and tuma is equal to death. And since there won't be death anymore, there will be no need for tumah. Now, v'hinei b'chol gan, now comes the point that the Ben Lashi is going to focus on. So we introduced the concept of be'ita nachishana. We introduced the pasuk, the concept that HaKadosh Baruch Hu drove Adam Rishon away from the Gan Eden and placed guards and different mechanisms to prevent him from coming back to the Gan Eden. Why? That he shouldn't eat from the trees, from the fruits, to be able to live forever. Very Parshat. Everybody knows that a garden has an entrance that people come and go whenever they need to. And there are doors that sometimes are open, sometimes are closed, for the people that live in the garden. Similarly, says the Ben Lashi, the same thing is in Gan Eden. This doorway that is found in Gan Eden is the secret, as we mentioned in the introduction, of Be'ita Achishana. The Pesach Ikari Shaboy Nesgarish Adam Yagan. The main entranceway that Adam Rishon was driven away, V'hushsmu Etzlei Sharmim, and guards were placed there. Yesh Loi Zman Kavu Ad Masa Yamdon Sharmim. Hashem put a guard for a specific time. Right? For example, a person, people come to their office in order to collect tzedakah. People come for meetings. There's a shomer. The shomer has a job. No one can come in from this and this time. But after that time, or in between, from 9 to 12, nobody can come in. From 1 to 3, people are allowed to come in. Right? So everybody understands that there's a set time when the shomer is there, and there's a hard and fast set time when the shomer can allow people to come in. Memela, yuchal adam liknas afilu b'li shum zchus. And here comes a very interesting thing, and this is the key point. When this guard, let's say, right, you have an oisher, a gvir, that gives out tzedakah. So he has a guard that stands, right, or the guard of the palace. Nobody can come in from 9 to 2 every day. From 2 to 4, anybody can come in. Anybody means anybody, right? Even if you don't have a zchus to come in. So too, as we explained, there's something called be'ita. That when Mashiach comes in the zman of be'ita, there will be no more guards. Everybody will be taken away because Hashem said, I don't need you anymore. I don't need Tumah. I don't need the Malach HaMavis. I don't need the Yetzirah. So very good. So now anybody in Klal Yisrael can come in. When the guards are taken away, it's open. As opposed to a side door, right? A back door entrance, right? If somebody calls the Gevir and says, listen, I need to meet with you, okay, don't come in from the front door because there is closed. I have a back door entrance you can come in, like a tunnel, right? That tunnel is only allowed, that side door entrance is only allowed for Yedidim, for friends, connections, people that the guy wants person to come in, right? The king says, listen, I can't let you come through the front door because it's sealed. I have guards standing there. If I open it up, people are going to rush in, they're going to come out. I have a side entrance that no one's aware of. You go through this building, right? And underneath the building, there's a tunnel, and through the tunnel, you can come up to my castle, right? Like Rabbi in Antoninus. There's a famous story with the Baba of a Rebbe that he tried, I think it was Rav Naftolchi, that he was trying to get a meeting to some very important person, and he couldn't get in, and somehow somebody told him that if you go through the next door building, there's a secret entranceway underneath that allows you to get back in. And that's what they did. So here too, there are temporary doors or tunnels that there could be guards there. There could be doors that are locked. Nobody knows about it. The Ben La'asher is teaching us a very important secret. When you do tshuva, you now become beloved to Hashem. Now you call Hashem, Hashem, I need help from you. I can't let you come through the front door, Reb Ruven. But because you did tshuva, and now you're one of my friends, right? And now I love you. Okay, no problem. I have a side door entrance. You can come right in. That's the secret that Kadosh Baruch Hu dug a tunnel underneath his Kisei HaKavod to allow Baalei Tshuva coming. What does it mean? He dug a tunnel, there's a tunnel. What does it exactly mean? So obviously it's for us to understand the concept that really when a person comes to Hashem and asks for a bakasha, so Hashem says, now is not the time. It's not an Eis Ratzon. I can't let you in, I can't let you out, right? There are guards there. It's not so simple to come and go. But a person who does tshuva, right? Hashem says, oh, now you did tshuva, now you're my friend. Now you're like the guy who's calling the Gevir and says, Reuven, I really need your help. You know, we're good friends. No problem. I want to help you. Come through the side door. So here too, when a person does tshuva, Hashem opens up the side entrance, the secret passageway. The lokach me'etz hachayim, and he gets from this etz hachayim the ochel v'chai lo'olam. Now, the Ben La'asher is talking about the Gan Eden, right? That if a person does tshuva, if Klal Yisrael did tshuva, right? Even though it's not the time for Mashiach to come, if they would come through the front door, the gates would be locked. But if Klal Yisrael would do tshuva, how does HaKadosh Baruch Hu allow them to come into the Gan Eden to bring Mashiach? He digs a tunnel. He tells them the secret passageway to get in, right? When we dive into HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we want Mashiach, right? So what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu say? Okay, we deserve it, we're not deserving, it's not its time. When we do tshuva, and we tell Hashem, we're sorry, and we do tshuva, Hashem says, okay, you want Mashiach? No problem. This is the way to do it. And by coming into Gan Eden, and now taking from the tree, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm going to give you the ability to come in. Now comes the second piece of the secret. Once you're already in, and you took from the Eitz HaGan, so there's no reason for the outside people to stay anymore, right? Once you come in, right, and you got the check from the Gevir, you can go through the front door, because no one else is coming in, right? There's no need for us to have guards anymore. And therefore, in the case of Gan Eden, once Klal Yisrael is able to enter into Gan Eden, or Adam Rishon would have been able to enter into Gan Eden, and take from the Eitz Hadas, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Mavir Mavis from the world, and he removes the Ruach HaTomah, so there's no need for the guards in the front gate. V'zehu inyan da'chishana. V'gam lezeh yesh man mugbal, k'mo shekas maral. Da'alkei nikras sudas leil alef de Pesach seder. V'k'mo sheyesh seder leteva, k'mo ken yesh sever lenisem sh'lemala m'derech hateva. This idea that HaKadosh Baruch Hu allows achishana is only specific times, right? There's only certain things have to happen. That's also something called a seder. Hashem created in the Bria the ability that nisim should happen api derech hateva, lamayla miderech hateva, excuse me, right? Seder by night, if a person does a great mitzvah, a person does tremendous Mesiras Nefesh and something, so Hashem then creates in the Bria this concept, right, that you can be Zeichel L'Mala Min HaTeva. Ach inyan hachasiru me'ila rakish oisin truma m'pniz alev. This idea of allowing us to come through the tunnel, allowing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should build a tunnel coming in through the side door, is only if you did tshuva from the bottom of your heart, like Menashe did. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a special entranceway for him for Tachas Kivi HaKavod. That is mitzvahs asay the tshuva nepach hakateger lios malach kodesh v'chis mitzvahs asay the tshuva. When you do tshuva, so that avera that you did, which initially the malach was coming and trying to prosecute you, he now turns into your best friend. The prosecutor turns into the defense attorney. And since he knows all the tricks, since he knows exactly what they try to use against you, he now can help you and dig a path for you to come back. Any time that there was supposed to be a good time for Mashiach to come, like we mentioned before, if they would have done tshuva, the mekatrikim would not have held them back. The secret entranceway would have opened up. Then the gula would have came. But because they did not do tshuva, it actually even got them more angry. You had the ability to save the world, you had the ability to bring Mashiach, and you didn't, right? Lahavdil, a person comes and he's offered a deal, he's offered a way out, and you reject it, that makes them even angrier. I tried to help you, and you don't accept my help, now I'm going to fix your wagon. So lahavdil, that's what happens in Shemayim. And they let the front guard know, be careful, now we're going to be even stricter, and that thing makes it even worse. And Memela, the Ben Ashri says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu granted in the Bria the ability at certain times for Achishana, to speed things up. If we don't take that option, then it makes it even worse. And now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said the same thing. When we got the Torah, says the Ben Ashri, that was the time that all the Ruach HaTumah left. We brought the world back to where it was initially. And we could have went into Gan Eden. Because of Cheres Alaluchas, Shenasu Cheres Malchamavas. The Satan and his army would have disappeared, like it says in Tosfos and Shabbos. But because we did the Egel, we messed things up. However, right, Moshe Rabbeinu davened to Hashem. We built the Mishkan, and we still had the ability, through going into Eretz Yisrael, to come in through the secret passageway. But at that point, it was an Nisayan. The Ben Ashri says, we're just going to learn the last few pieces on the outside, that when Moshe Rabbeinu was telling them, I'm not only telling you to go into Eretz Yisrael, I'm also going to tell you that when you go into Eretz Yisrael, you should understand that you're going into the concept of Gan Eden. And for you to go into Gan Eden, you need to look for this eitz, for this tree. Moshe Rabbeinu told them where this tree, what this tree is. And if you find this tree and you grab the fruits from the tree, we can live forever. We can fix the Chet Egel, we can live forever, and that will bring the ultimate Mashiach. But they didn't do it. They messed it up. And because they messed it up, it actually made things much worse. Why? Because now they couldn't go into Eretz Yisrael for 40 years. Why couldn't they go into Eretz Yisrael for 40 years? Because the main guards, Kaviyachol, blocked their entrance from going into Eretz Yisrael, and now they had to wander for 40 years. What happened? There's a concept when a person is about to reach a new level, HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes away all his levels. It's brought down by Avram Avinu, by the Zman of Akedah, that in order for Avram Avinu to fully get the levels that the Akedah would have given to him, he had to do it on his own, which means all the koiches that Hashem gave him over the years to help him do mitzvahs and everything that he built up was taken away from him. That's called moichin de katnos. Right? Sometimes a person can learn and everything's clicking and everything's going and the davening's well and the learning's well. He's asking questions and his toises, his teretz he gets, and everything's flowing. Then there are times he can barely read a Gemara. He says, I don't understand what's going on. The answer is that in that Gemara, in that Zman, in that Tefillah, there lies something that can help you get to the next level. But to do that, you have to do it on your own. And that's what happens to the Meraglim, says the Ben Lashri. Originally, Yitaka right, when they went into Eretz Yisrael, before they went in, they were tzaddikim, and they understood very well what their job was. They understood very well that they had to go find that tree. And it wasn't a tree that they could just buy fruits, that they grabbed the tree. And to grab the tree, they needed to make a chazakah. By doing a chazakah, it showed that they were worthy to go into the Gan Eden. And if they would have done it, and they would have brought it back to Klal Yisrael, Mashiach would have came. But because they messed it up, not only did they get punished, not only were we not allowed to go into Eretz Yisrael for 40 years, we also were subject to the gullus, the bitter gullus of Tisha B'Av, because now even the front guards and the side door guards would not allow us to come in. And that's the secret that Moshe Rabbeinu tried to pass on to the Meraglim, that initially they understood, but eventually they forgot, and it was taken away from them, and the Tzad HaTumah overcame them, and they were unable to do what their ultimate job was, except for Kalev and Yeshua. Kalev and Yeshua did not take anything, and because they did not take anything, the Tzad HaTumah did not affect them. Also, they davened, and by davening they had these protections where the other Shvatim did not daven, the other Meraglim did not daven. But the Ben Lashri says an unbelievable idea, that there's a concept that even though, a practical idea for us to understand, that even though we daven for something and we don't deserve it, and even though we daven for something and we're not supposed to get it, but if a person does tshuva, right, HaKadosh Baruch Hu presents him a secret doorway to come in through the side door, through the back door, underneath the Kisei HaKavod. HaKadosh Baruch Hu accepts his tshuva and brings him back. And may it be a will that HaKadosh Baruch Hu accepts our tshuva and brings us back to the ultimate geula, the ultimate zman of Bila HaMavis LaNetzach. We should be zeicha to see the Pnei Mashiach and the Binyan Beis HaMikdash. Amen. Ken Yiratzayim.